In this video, we're going to talk about rotations. We're going to limit ourselves to rotations around the origin in multiples of 90 degrees. On this XY graph, we have a banana. It's in the first quadrant, and then we're going to rotate it 90 degrees around the origin. And notice it rotates around, and then we rotate it 90 degrees more, and we rotate it 90 degrees more. And if you look at the coordinates of the blossom end of the first banana, they are at 2, 4. Then after a 90-degree rotation, the blossom end is at 4, -2. We rotate once more, and we end up with -2, -4. And after our next and final rotation, we end up with the coordinates -4, 2. Now, something you may have noticed is that each of these coordinates has a 2 and a 4 in it. Something else you may have noticed is that some of them have negative coordinates. Now, in a previous class, you learned that the upper right quadrant is called quadrant 1, upper left is 2, and then 3 in the lower left, and quadrant 4 is in the lower right. Something else you should already know is that in quadrant 1, both coordinates are positive. In quadrant 2, the first coordinate is negative, and the second coordinate is positive. And in quadrant 3, they're both negative. And in quadrant 4, the x-coordinate or first coordinate is positive, and the y or second coordinate is negative. And finally, you should notice that x and y values swap every 90 degrees. So this means that every 90-degree rotation, I can swap the x and y and just figure out which quadrant I'm in and know if it's x is positive or y is negative based purely on the quadrant. Now let's do this without a graph. We're going to take the point -5, 7 and rotate it counterclockwise 90 degrees. Now we know that we're going one step of 90 degrees, so the 7 and the 5 are going to switch. Now we started in the second quadrant, we ended up in the third, and in the third quadrant, both the coordinates are negative. So we know it's -7, -5. Let's take a look at one more example. We're going to look at the point 17, -95. Now you really don't want to graph this one because it's such huge numbers. So we're going to rotate this 180 degrees. Now notice it doesn't say clockwise or counterclockwise because it doesn't really matter which way we go. And since we started in the fourth quadrant, we rotate 180 degrees. It means we end up in the second quadrant, which means we're going to have 17, 95. And the second quadrant, we know that the x values are negative and the y values are positive. And that's it. It really is that simple.